The two main types of pornography addiction and what to do about it. I'm Dr. Trish Leigh. Let me tell you. So we know that there are two main types of compulsion or addiction or drive back to the screen. And typically, these two types are divided by a Mason-Dixon line of sorts by age. And what happens is there are different root causes for the pornography addiction. And honestly, they're very intertwined and wrapped up in each other, but we're going to use this age delineation just to make it easier for you to understand what might be going on with you, because that's what I care about. Okay, so for older people, and we're going to say middle age and older, and yes, I fall into that category and I'm acutely aware of it, but for people who are, 40 or older, they may have found pornography in the form of images or magazines before the era of high-speed internet pornography. And so that animal develops differently. And we know from the science that many times for people who are older, that there's childhood trauma at the root of a pornography addiction. And it usually goes something like this. At the age of 10 or 11 or sometimes earlier, a child is exposed to pornography, usually by somebody else. And at the same time, they have traumas or dysfunction happening in their life that makes it so that the real world is an uncomfortable place to be. And they see these images and their brain is flooded with dopamine, giving them pleasure and making them seek more pleasure in those images. But it's vital for them and it becomes a safe haven for them because of the chaos in their family and the discomfort that is happening in their real life. So real life is hard and fantasy is easy and is pleasure giving and pleasure seeking. And that's how a classic pornography addiction begins and then perpetuates. Now, that's differentiated on the other side of the line by a contemporary type of pornography addiction. And what happens there for younger people in the era of high-speed internet pornography is that it's available everywhere. It's available on your phone, in your pocket, at your schools, unfortunately. And so then what happens is you get exposed, and we know now the way that the internet works is it might just be served right up to you. You don't even have to look for it. And when you're exposed to it, your brain gets this massive dopamine flood. Now, here's another differentiating factor for people who are younger, is that the younger that you are when you are exposed, the more your brain is hijacked and the harder it is to break that hijacking. So if you are 6, 7, 8, the new average age for pornography exposure, and you stumble upon it and it shows up on your phone and your brain becomes hijacked, you keep going back to high-speed internet pornography. And we know it's so different than just a still image. I won't even go into that because I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, but it's much more dopamine producing and it hijacks the brain at new, intense, higher levels, and it becomes more difficult to leave behind. Now, unfortunately, when we're talking about a classic pornography addiction, it also has the contemporary component. So classic means they're older, they might have trauma, discomfort, dysfunction as a driving force, and then high-speed internet pornography comes along and it keeps instilling and driving and burrowing in those neural pathways through frequent, consistent, and more intense use. But I wanted to share that with you because some people don't resonate with the message on trauma. And so I wanted to be able to tell you, if you're younger and trauma isn't a major motivating factor, it may be that your brain is just hijacked by the consistent use in a high-speed internet pornography manner. But many people have trauma and discomfort as a driving force back into the screen. There's also the pull back in because it's a supernormal stimulus. And so for any given person, the push might be stronger than the pull, or the pull might be stronger than the push. And that's what I wanted you to know in today's video. So there's two main types, classic, contemporary, and for many people, it's wrapped together. And I hope that helps you understand what's going on with you. Now, of course, the way out is being able to use an approach that digs into the dysfunction of the past, the discomfort of the present, rebooting and rewiring your brain by using new routines and new habits, new thought processes, being able to figure out what you're feeling and being able to move through that discomfort so that you can rewire and hardwire in a new brain pattern. That is the way out. If you want help on that journey, please reach out to me. I'm here for you. And as always, control your brain or it'll control you.